My name is Nick Fonda. I'm the author of a couple of books on Richmond, Richmond Now and Then, and Roads to Richmond. The building behind me is St. Bibiane's Church. It was erected in 1880 by Father Patrick Quinn. Father Patrick Quinn is arguably the person who had the greatest influence on the growth of Richmond through the late 1800s. Father Patrick Quinn was born in Strokestown, Ireland in 1836, and he came to Canada with his family in 1847. Sadly, his parents and three sisters died of typhus on Grosse Île before they had a chance to make it to the mainland. However, his younger brother Thomas survived, as did Patrick. Both were taken in by a family in Nicolette, a family by the name of Burke or Bourke. I've seen both spellings. Both boys were bright kids. They were educated at the seminary, and both went on to become priests. Patrick Quinn was ordained when he was 26, and when he was 28, he was assigned here as parish priest. When he arrived, the building behind me was not a big brick structure, but a more modest wood frame building, which had been erected around 1836. By 1880, the church was in need of such extensive repairs that it was decided to build a new building altogether. Shortly after erecting St. Bibiane's, Patrick Quinn went on to build three other buildings. He built a school, which came to be known as the Brothers' School for boys, which was just a few hundred yards further upstream on Main Street. After that, the rectory was erected, and then the convent, Couvent Mont-Saint-Patrice, which is behind me, in front of me here, was also erected. In addition to the buildings, Father Quinn was also behind two other institutions which survive to this day. One was the St. Patrick's Society. The St. Pat's Society was a way for the Catholic Irish community to come together, to band together. In some ways it was a bit of a statement against the Orangemen, who also were fairly well organized at the time. In addition to the St. Pat's Society, he also founded the Saint Jean-Baptiste Society for the French Catholic community. Both of those organizations are still active and still very much present in the area. The church behind me, St. Bibiane's, served both the Irish Catholic community and the French Catholic community. The masses, were held both in English and in French, and really as recently as 25 years ago, you could come to the 9 o'clock Mass and have a Mass in French, and then come to the 10:30 Mass and hear a Mass in English. Patrick Quinn and his brother, as orphans, were close, the only family they had, and they remained both emotionally and geographically close for the rest of their lives. Several years after Patrick Quinn was assigned here to St. Bibiane's Parish, his brother Thomas was assigned to the parish in South Durham, some 15 minutes, either by rail in those days or by car today, some 15 minutes west of here. The Saint Fulgence Parish was Thomas's parish for a very long time. Curiously enough, Thomas retired from the priesthood in 1902 before his brother. His brother remained a priest until 1914. In 1914, he celebrated his Golden Jubilee, his 50 years in the priesthood, and a few months after that, he retired, and before the end of 1914, at the age of 78, he passed away. The remarkable thing in many ways about Patrick Quinn is the influence he had on the growth of Richmond. It was during his tenure here in St. Bibiane's that Richmond experienced its greatest growth. The entire downtown section of Richmond went up roughly at that time, and Patrick Quinn was very much a force in this community. It's remarkable, really, that an orphan from Strokestown should have had such a tremendous lasting impact. The buildings that went up in his time all still exist and are all still used to this day, although not necessarily with their original functions.